Attack the Block may look like another low-budget film about a group of teens defending their home from aliens, but it's so much more. Not only is this an excellent genre film blending sci-fi with horror, comedy, and even a little romance, but it's also a look at the struggles of the British working class and the power of compassion.
Apes! Together!
It's kind of strange how this seemingly pointless reboot spawned one of the best trilogies in years, with the second film, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, truly in a league of its own. Instead of framing the conflict around humanity like we normally do, the film focuses on Caesar, played brilliantly by Andy Serkis. It's all about his ultimate failure to keep peace between apes and humans, leading to, Planet of the Apes. And luckily, the film doesn't shy away from showing the beauty and ugliness on both sides, which leaves you wondering who actually deserves to survive.
There's no horror film quite like 2008's Swedish import Let the Right One In. It's the tale of two lonely kids in the 1980s who becomes friends. One's a victim of bullying, and the other is a vampire. It's got that deep Scandinavian chill that can't be matched. And it's so perfectly shot that even the violence, while incredibly graphic, is still beautiful. They did release an American version 2 years later, and it was good, but it couldn't match the original.
Batman Begins may have launched the modern superhero genre, but The Dark Knight perfected it. This movie showed that comic book films don't need to be light, campy, or juvenile in order to make an impact. They can be thought-provoking, they can be intense, they can challenge us in ways we didn't expect. It also features the only Oscar-winning performance from a comic book film to date, with Heath Ledger's iconic turn as the Joker.
Once upon a time, there was a woman.
The Girl with All the Gifts was one in a sea of post-apocalyptic zombie flicks, but this one had something that set it apart. It focused on a young girl, played by Senia Nanua, who sports both human and zombie traits. She and her fellow hybrids are the key to humanity's survival, but must face a world that fears what they're truly capable of. Captivating, terrifying, provocative, and surprising, The Girl with All the Gifts is the most innovative zombie film in years.
We could go together. A simple story about a computer genius, a lonely programmer, and an android turned out one of the decade's best examinations of artificial intelligence and what it means to be human. In Ex Machina, Alicia Vikander dazzled audiences as Ava, an android whose growing self-awareness puts her at odds with her creator, Nathan Bateman, who wishes to control her. Unfortunately for him, and the rest of the world, Nathan has no idea what he's actually unleashed.
He is better than even you.
It took decades to finally get Wonder Woman her own film, and it did not disappoint. She basically saved the DC movie universe. Directed by Patty Jenkins, Wonder Woman is all about Diana of Themyscira realizing her true potential and becoming humanity's savior. And instead of being dreary and somber like much of today's DC films, Wonder Woman was bright and full of hope, just like a true hero should be.
Every 18 hours, the door opens up.
Science fiction thrives when it uses the future to help us figure out the present. One of the best examples of this from the past decade is Arrival, a story about communication. Language is a universal part of life, but that doesn't always equal understanding. This movie may be about aliens who speak using circles, but it's also about bridging divides.
The X-Men films of the early 2000s were some of the first comic book movies of the modern generation, paving the way for Marvel and DC to start their own cinematic worlds. The culmination of 16 years of storytelling, it closes the chapter on Hugh Jackman's Wolverine in just about the best way any movie could. Logan is, at this point, comic book cinema's greatest achievement.
A visual and storytelling triumph, George Miller's Mad Max Fury Road was a movie no one was expecting. Our Lady of Perpetual Badassery, Imperator Furiosa, teams up with Max on a high-speed chase that never lets up or slows down, pairing some of cinema's greatest practical effects with a solid plot and thoughtful characters. It's a near-perfect film and one that won't be matched anytime soon.